what's the picture? And I love the illustration he gave. He said, imagine that we were having a big party, everyone in the church, big party, all the services coming together, and, you know, we rent a park, and, I mean, we're going to have ice cream, and we're going to have food and a barbecue, and we're going to celebrate, there's going to be great music. And so we get like 4 or 5 of our best artists, and we want you to create a sculpture that, I mean, gives glory to God, that just magnifies the artistic talent and ability that you have. And here's this big room, it's about, 30 feet by 40 feet, and this big block of ice, and they're in there with chainsaws, and so they work for weeks, and then they put it on these rollers, and we're thousands of us, and we're having music, and here it is, this beautiful fountain, and it's out in 100 degrees, and who knows, maybe we could have chocolate coming out of it or something, but there's swans, and I mean it's just an amazing deal, right? And we stop, and all of us are going, wow. What can you believe, man? Unbelievable. Do you see? I mean, that is the most amazing. How do they do that with ice, right? We're all just like this. 3 hours later, party's over. What they did was wonderful. Their energy was wonderful. We've appreciated it. But 3 to 4 hours later, some of us are volunteering, cleaning up the chairs. We're picking up the paper. The swan only has one arm. The thing's melting. By dusk, a handful of us are just cleaning up. And where that beautiful ice sculpture used to be, there's just puddles of water. See, it's not that what you are doing or what I'm doing doesn't have any value. It's that it doesn't have any value that lasts. And there's some of us that'll stand before the judgment seat of Christ, and I just say this from God's loving heart to you as a warning. And you will spend your time and your energy doing very good things that you think with all your heart are in the name of love in your relationships, in your families, and in your work. And you'll get near the end of your life, or worse, by the time, if you have a family where your kids are grown, and what you'll look back on is just pools of water that have no significance, that are going nowhere, and you wish you could turn back the clock. Before we even go on in today's broadcast, I just want to stop and I want to ask you, what aspect of your life is like the ice sculpture? I mean, it's not that it's not beautiful. It's not that it's not something that looks pretty cool or takes a lot of energy and effort, but it doesn't last. And sometimes God brings some emergencies, some things to jolt our life, because we're talking about how love responds to misplaced priorities. And we all have them to one degree or another. And after many years of being a pastor, I have a pretty good rhythm of my life in terms of priorities and when I study and what I do. But I'm like everybody else. You get tired and you slip into patterns where you watch a little too much TV, or, kind of go into a little denial and spend a little more time on a hobby doing this or that. And it was interesting. As soon as I found my wife had breast cancer, it was like I know I needed to simplify. And not stop doing things that were wrong, but I just knew, for this season, I just don't want to watch any TV. For this season, I decided to, I had my devotions in the morning. For this season, I decided, before I go to bed, I'm just going to read through the Gospels. I need to draw near to God. I need to purify and clarify. And I believe that's what God's saying to some of you. So let me ask you, how much time goes into hobbies? How much time is pursuing more money and more work? And what's that going to look like later? Or how many of you are just, overdosed on how good you're going to be at this sport or that sport, or your SAT scores, or what school that you go into? Not sinful or bad or in and of itself, but what does that produce in the long haul if it consumes your heart and your